let me tell you a little story about Chocopie, okay? And this is a story about me losing, okay? I just make myself look a little cool. So, our second manager, she was a complete sociopath. I said this on another stream, but she stole probably about $40 to $50,000 from your boy. And you might be asking, how, Chocopie? How could you let someone steal that much money from you? Well, let me tell you. Um, Lack of awareness, she manipulated, and I was a pussy, and I was an idiot at the time. She said she had a big contract for me from Boeing Airforce Company. She made a fake business card. She made a fake business Boeing email. And at the time, I'm such an idiot. I didn't know you could make fake emails with Boeing in it.
We got some anarchy.
Your boy just thought that, oh, you can't make emails like that. Of course you can. Now I know. And so what she did is she made all these fake accounts, and for about a year she was doing good, right? And then she started being scandalous. She said, hey, let's open up a coffee shop in town. We could open up on your hotel. And I was like, you know what, girl? Chase after your dreams, you know? I'm all down for that. I'm not going to stop anybody from chasing their dreams, right? So this girl starts spending money, buying cameras, all this stuff. And I'm like, hey, so why are you ordering all this stuff? It's like, hey, this is for the hotel. And I'm like, okay, fine. So be it. You're my manager. I'm going to trust you. And then every time I like question her, she would start getting, you know, doing manipulation tactics, like yelling at me or being complete, you know, trying to scare me. Like I'm saying, I'm a man, right? The way she scared me is saying, hey, I'm going to quit, you know, if you keep pushing me. And I'm like thinking, like, she was telling me this contract we're about to get is going to make me $1 million+ right? So I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I want that money. So there's the greed of money, and then there's the fear of losing her, because she's the one talking to supposedly Boeing, the airplane contract, right? For my motel business. So the story goes, she keeps manipulating, and I didn't notice, but she was telling all my employees, she said, hey, don't talk to the employees, you're a boss, let me talk to them. And on that part, she's kind of right, okay? As an owner of a business,
so you're still looking for a scrap?
You should let your managers do their job and not
down with authority.
Mother sucker. Anyway, as owner of a business, you should let your manager handle things. Okay, it should be like a pyramid, right? Shit goes downhill. But the thing is, before that, your boy Chocopie used to always talk to every one of his employees, because I don't have a lot of employees. About like 9 to 12 employees.
Starting room without dying.
Can you shut the fuck up, Lex Luthor? Anyways, your boy will be got along with all his employees, and we're talking about employees that work for me for more than 2-3 years, right? But she started manipulating every one of them, say, hey, Chocopie's mad at you, you're not doing your job right, like extreme manipulation. I didn't notice till the end, right? And then she's buying all this equipment and stuff, and then she tells me, hey, I want to open up this coffee shop. So I found out that she opened up a coffee shop with my stolen money. I didn't find out that was my stolen money first, but she opened up a coffee shop in town, and I asked, hey man, what happened? I thought we were going to open a coffee shop on my hotel business. And she said, hey, I didn't want you to lose your money, so I spent my money that I had in savings from my dad, and I opened up a coffee shop in town. So I wanted to try it out, and if it works out, then we could open it up on your business, boss. Sounds kind of good. But of course, I was being a suspect, right? And at the time, I was suffering from a lot of mental anxiety and, you know, addiction issues and stuff like that. So I was already having a lot of anxiety. So I just said, okay, fuck it. Let's try to believe her, right? Already sounds fishy. So it comes to the point where I'm getting to a point where I'm very close to suspecting her, right? So I tell her, hey, now we got to play the game, right? So I told her, I remember one of the last days, we have to drop the bank, and I told her, hey, I use my dad as an excuse. That's what I usually do. As a business person, if you're young, use your parents as an excuse if they're the one that gets your business, right? I said, hey, my dad is a little bit suspicious about where this money and stuff is going, so I feel like I need to come back to the business and take over, right? So we tell this to this lady, and she's like, oh, so you're going to do that? You're not going to trust me, right? So manipulation again, right? Tries to fuck with me. And I said, no. I trust you. I didn't trust her whatsoever. But I said, okay. But you know what? Half of me wanted to believe her, right? So I gave her the bank deposit. And I said, hey, I'm going to come back and work. And she says, well, Simply, I don't feel like we have a trust anymore, so I don't think I can work for you anymore, but I am still going to work for 2 more weeks for you before I quit. That's what she told me. And I said, okay, well, here's the bank deposit. I think I forgot how much it was, maybe like $1,000 or something. And I said, here, take this. This is me trusting you. I'm just going to come back as the boss and see how things are running, but things are going to have to change. Well, I go home, me and my wife.
Hey, wait for me!
Let me tell the story real quick. So, me and my wife, we're sleeping. 7 o'clock in the morning or something. We get a call. I get a call, and it's not even from my employee. It is from a guest at the hotel that I knew for a while because she was staying there for a while. She said, "Hey, Chocopie, your manager, your hotel is completely locked. Your manager locked the door, and she fired every single one of your employees, and she left." And she told all your employees that you didn't want them, they sucked at your job and whatever. And she said that you hated them and they're all fired. That's what she told them. And that's what this guest at the hotel told me. So I wake up hearing this bullshit news, and then my heart is pumping out of anger, frustration, anxiety, and complete fear. Okay? So then your boy grabs his wife. We head down to the hotel. Hotel's completely empty, no staff anywhere to be seen. I get inside my hotel and I'm in panic mode. And then, of course, I'm praying. I'm a Christian. I'm like, God, what am I supposed to do? This girl literally is everything I feared happened. She is a complete manipulator. She stole all my money. Well, not all my money, but she stole what, 40, $50,000 from me. she op- so everything I feared happened. But I remember I had to. I really want. I'll be honest. If I'm being honest, I want to cry at the moment. But I got my wife, and she's crying, and she's freaking out. So I got to be the man, right? So I told my wife, "Don't worry, God's gonna take care of it. I'm gonna take care of it as the man." So I gather up some of the long-term staying guests that needed work and that can't pay for their rooms. I say, "Hey, do you want work? Come over here. um, let's meet." And then I tried to call every one of my employees. Only 30% of my employees picked up my phone call. They actually believed, even though most of those employees, for years, I talked to them and I helped them out. I told them good things about themselves. I took care of them. I gave them bonuses. When their family needed help, I helped them. All that shit went out the window because they believed this manipulating woman. Now, remember, she took my bank deposit also, right? Because the day before, I wanted to show that I trusted her. Well, that was a stupid mistake. Now, this is around COVID time, right? People were going to jail and being released because there was not enough. Police couldn't do their jobs during COVID time in Washington because it was overpacked and they didn't want COVID to spread. Okay, so I called the police. I told them what happened. I told them how much money she stole. It's well past a felony, right? Police said no. This is a civil matter because, funny enough, COVID rules and all this bullshit. Okay, and so I remember me and my wife, we go to Safeway to buy some stuff, breakfast stuff, and I'm just still panicking. And I told my wife it's gonna be all right. I'm holding back my tears as a man, trying to be a big, strong man. And we come back, and I gather up all my guys. And there was a maintenance guy who became my manager, who also stole and almost made me went bankrupt. But that's a later story. So my maintenance guy was a homeless vet that I took in, and I liked him because he seemed to help me, and it seemed like a nice guy, a little dirty guy, but nice and smart. So, and he's very smart at maintenance stuff. So I called him, I hired him in. Apparently, yeah, now that I know it, and I can think back on it, he was probably having sex with her and doing weird shit and screwing me over anyway. But regardless, that's years later. Um, this is 3, 4 years ago. So, girl fires all my employees. I gather up 20% of the employees that wanted to come back to me. And the rest believed all her lies, saying that I hated them. Even though every conversation I had with my employees, I always tell them, "Hey, you're doing a great job. Here's money for you. Here's this for your family. All this shit." But and then I but luckily God is good, right? I was able to get housekeepers that literally were staying at my hotel, living there. Um, and I brought them into and made them my employees. And then a couple of them stayed behind. And then I know later on some of them quit because they say, "Hey, this is way too much stress for me to handle," which I could understand, right? Getting paid a minimum wage job, and the kind of chaos that I was facing at that business was more than anybody that works a minimum wage job could probably handle. Okay, but I'm the boss, and I own that place. I can't run away from my business, right? So somehow or another, the Lord blesses me to gain all these people. Um, I lost about 12, 14 employees. I managed to gather up random employees for the first time that didn't even work, and I had about like 6 or 7 crew members. And then the next day, the maintenance guy, he calls me back, and I thought he left, skipped out of Dodge. Apparently, he came back and he became my new manager. Now, I'll tell his story next time, but what happened with this girl is I called the police, nothing happened. They said it's a civil matter, go to civil court. Now, let me tell you this as a business owner. All my rich business friends that makes millions, that have millions of dollars, older than me, they told me, hey, most of the time, if you go to civil court, you're only going to be at a loss because these scumbags that screw you and manipulate you and take advantage of the system, they don't have no money. Their credit's already bad, so they don't give a shit. You're not going to get your money back. What you're going to do is you're going to waste more money paying a lawyer to fight this case. So even though it sucks, let it be, which was hard for me to do. And at the time, I thought the police can do something. So when I called the police, I called my manager. I said, "Hey, I found her on Facebook. She blocked me on everything else." I said, "Hey, you're gonna get arrested, girl. So and you still have my deposit money. So you need to meet me." And I'm just dripping with anger at the time. So this girl meets me at the mall parking lot. She didn't want to come to the hotel because I have cameras, right? So she meets me at the mall. She gives me a little bit of money, but she didn't give me all my money. And honestly, she won. But this is what happened. I meet this girl at the mall. I'm not gonna blast her name because I'm not that kind of person. Um, so her fucking, she's she a big girl, big white girl. She fat, okay? It is what it is. I used to be fat, so I could say what's if I could say that she's a fat girl, okay? I used to be fat, so ain't no fat shaming. She's just a big fat white girl, and I used to be a fat boy. It is what it is. So we meet at the mall. This is where my pride and arrogance comes into play. I told her, hey, I start cussing at her. So years before that, I never cussed at her or anything because I didn't want to lose her because she used extreme manipulation and sociopathic skills on me. Um, I told her, get on your fucking knees and tell me that you're a little bitch. I remember this. And I brought my maintenance guy with me. I remember he was sitting in the car. He didn't want to come out because I found out later that he was possibly sleeping with her. Um, and here she is. I can see her. She gets on her knees, and she and I tell her, and I'm screaming at her at the top of my lungs, like wanting to punch her in the face. I said, "Say your little bitch," and I could just see her. She's grinding her teeth, and she said, "I'm a little bitch." And you know, I'll be honest. It made me feel good at the moment, but to be honest, she might have said all that, and I might have felt like I was taking care of business, and she was like, I could just see the anger in her face while she's calling herself a little bitch because I told her to, and all this, and my ego was getting filled. But at the end of the day, you know what happened? Nothing happened. She stole my money. She stole about $40,000 to $50,000. She opened up a business. She ruined the business. Honestly, if she stole my money like that, I really wish she would have made the business profitable, but she ruined it. Um, she didn't pay her employees. Her business got shut down in town. It's still up there to this day in this town. 3 years later, that small coffee shop where she stole all my money and took my camera equipment and stuff and used it, it's still there. Funny enough. But moral of the story is this: pride and arrogance gets you nowhere. Okay. Now I might have got my ego filled and felt like I got something over her. No, she actually won on that one. She stole all my money. No repercussions came over to her, at least that I know of, unless the police did something without me knowing. I gave them all the information. So as far as I know, nothing happened to her. Um, but my pride and ego was dumb at the time. I should have been a better owner, paying attention, not letting her manipulate me. Not because the thing is, I was so scared of It's called the fear of man. I wasn't scared of her. I was scared of losing her because she supposedly had this big contract of money for me, right? This gold mine. And the thing is, as a business owner, you can never let your employees take they you can't let them leverage you, and you can't let them make you feel like without them you will be lost, because if you're ever in that position, then you are no longer the boss, you are a worker. Even if you own the place, you are basically a slave to your workers. You always have to act and also believe and know your business enough that hey, you could fire these people if they're bad employees and you can still take care of business even without them, because the minute you show weakness to people like that's the first time in my life I believe I met a sociopath. Even my homeboy that murdered two people, I don't believe he was a sociopath. I just believe that he was in a bad gang and he did very terrible demonic things, but I don't believe he was a sociopath. This woman, I believe that was the first sociopath I've ever met in my life. She stole thousands of dollars from an old lady that's like 70, 80 years old. No sympathy. I mean, no empathy, nothing. Just complete ruthlessness. And she wasn't a drug addict, nothing like that. You know, if you're a drug addict, I can understand, like, because, like, your mind gets warped when you're on drugs, like, especially if you're on meth and stuff. You'll do things, heinous things that you probably never do sober. But this girl was not a drug addict. She just was a complete sociopath. Now, for any business owners that hear this, I might make a clip of this because it's a story that happened in my life. Um, be careful. Like I said, make sure you check. Now, I did do my due diligence. Like I said, she showed me a fake business card. She showed me fake emails coming from Boeing. So, and she forged a fake contract. But what I should have done is I should have went even deeper into doing my homework to make sure she wasn't bullshitting me. And instead, I only went halfway to see if she was bullshitting me, and the other half was me just crossing my fingers, hoping this girl wasn't a psychopath. And apparently, she was. So that is the moral of that story. Hopefully, it helps anybody else not make the same mistakes I made. Be careful, okay? You know, it's okay to be
Oi,
good to people and be
zombie!
nice,
You want a piece? Come and have
but
a go if you think you're
if
hard
you own a
enough.
business or you're a manager or whatever you are, you know, and this doesn't even really entail to owning a business or anything else, just living life, meeting people, right? Be careful. If you show empathy and if you don't take care of your own business, people will take advantage of you, dog. You gotta be careful and be on your P's and Q's. Luckily now, my wife, who I love and I trust her, you gotta be able to trust people in business. Don't get me wrong. You gotta understand people, there's people that own 5, 10, 6 different franchise businesses. Do you think that they can micromanage every single one of their business? No, they cannot. But one thing is for certain, they have policies in place where people get fired. And for me, is I let a lot of things go because of my own empathy and my own fear. Like a lot of my employees, if they do something wrong, because they tell me their sob stories, I say, okay, you know what? It's okay. I'll let it go. Okay, letting it go the first time, it's okay. It's okay to have mercy and forgiveness. Things happen in your employees' lives and in my own life. But then you let it go 2, 3, 5, 6 times. Then you're just being an idiot. And you kind of deserve what's coming to you, even if you get screwed by a piece of shit person like that. So be careful, okay? Don't be like Chocopie back then. I'm not like that no more.
Well, color me
If
chuffed.
any of my staff leave me today, I say, hey, I love you. Hope you find a better job. Sayonara. Because I can do every single job at the hotel by myself. Now, of course, I need my employees. And the employees I have now are amazing. They're loyal and they're good people. But even though they are loyal and good people, I still got to be a good boss and pay attention to what the hell's going on, where each penny is going from my business, each cash flow. Even if there's a dollar missing, why did that dollar go missing? You gotta pay attention or you will get fucked. Trust me on this, okay? Hopefully, this story is what is it? A good story to help anybody else not make the same. Like I said, I was in my upper 20s when I owned this business, full of arrogance and pride and a lot of fear. and making up for that fear with drinking a lot of alcohol and abusing a lot of medication just to sustain my mental health while it was deterring my mental health. Okay, so be better than me. Okay, we're gonna end it there.